What a nice background. Did not see that. Yeah, this is my official VTuber background. Yeah. It's pretty, right? Playing Street Fighter 6 all day? Oh my god, that sounds awesome. Are you enjoying it? Is it fun? Yeah, thank you. I actually have some of this edited, so in the background, like the neon sign is something I made, as well as how it flashes, and the little G poses in the back are what I made as well. Good old Photoshop, chat. Good old Photoshop. Hello, Zadena, hello. Oh my god. Okay. So I mentioned before on Discord that I wanted to try to do some kind of just more chatting streams perhaps, whereby, for example, I would think of a topic to discuss and we discuss it in full length, like we just have a conversation about it, and then when I feel like the discussion has been adequately discussed, we move to gaming. Yeah, so this is what I want to do. This took me 20 plus minutes to set up. You wouldn't think it, would you? But it actually took a significant amount of time to set up, and I was like, but it's fine. I was like, you know what? We're gonna do this properly. We're gonna get the nice background. We're gonna get the good lighting effects. We're gonna go all in. We're gonna go all in. But yeah. Hello. So we're just gonna do a I guess a short just greeting and talking for a little bit about our days, and then we move on to the topic. So yeah, that's what I kind of want to do. That's what I want to do. And go from there. I also had to run this stream took so long to set up that my tea was cold by the time I started stream. So I was like, I'm gonna have to get more tea. I'm gonna have to go get more tea. So I've gone and got more tea. But yeah. I think it's always interesting to talk more about, have segments of just interesting topics and things to talk about. So that's what I kind of want to do with aspect of streaming, is just to have open conversations and discussions about potential topics, because it can be very potentially cathartic to hear other people's worldviews. Just have a discussion anyway about something. You know, it doesn't have to be all ooh-hoo, meme, cringe bunny girl on the internet. You know, we can be real. Those brass taxes. Do we really need them? Discuss. Hello, Rio, hello. But I hope everyone's had a good Saturday. It's been very warm in the UK. It's been super warm. Been crazy. Allie? Hello. Casual 11-hour shift. Oh my god, that is a long heckin' shift. Oh my god, are you okay? Are you doing okay? How are you feeling? 6 out of 18 in a row. That is illegal. That is illegal. That can't be true. That can't be right. No way. It's really warm in France as well. Yeah. It is so warm. It is boiling. Emotions are running high. People are going to start fighting soon. It's going to be glorious. Oh my god. Hello, Melia. Hello. I hope people don't imagine people fighting in the workplace, like proper fighting. That sounds kind of scary, honestly. I don't know if I'd be down for that. I'm like, no, thank you. I want to come to work. I want to have as least drama as possible, and then I want to go home. That's kind of like my philosophy of it, honestly. None of this. Yeah, none of this. Just like drama, man. None of that drama. No way, no way. I ain't got time for that in my life. Hope everyone's got a cup of tea, by the way. Or like something like very cozy to drink. 3 weeks in a row of some people not carrying their weight will do that. Oh, I see. So I'm assuming certain operations and such are not being done properly, which means it sets back other people, right? You finished your plum liquor already? Wait, really? Whoa. That looked like a decent bottle, right? Like a pretty big bottle. It's really like running on a static for 11 hours a day. Oh, yeah. It's real tasty. Fair. Yeah, go back to Japan. Quick adventure, quick adventure. There's no cake, no nothing. It just tastes good. I was actually looking up, I was having a talk with my manager today. And he was discussing about going to New Zealand again. New Zealand is really fucking expensive to go to. I looked up a plane ticket, like a return plane ticket for a week, and it was £1,700. That was very expensive. And I was like, ooh, no, dude, no, not doing that. No way in hell. No way in hell. Takes like a week to get that. I didn't actually check that, to be fair. Yeah, things are going well with me, Ali, thank you. Oh, you having a game night? You having a drink in a bit? Oh, have a wonderful time. That sounds like a lot of fun and a lot of merriment. Enjoy your time. It's a 20-hour flight, really? Is it? But yeah, just the flight alone cost like 1,700, and I thought, whoa, that's more than Japan, dude. That is more than Japan. Where the hell is New Zealand on the map, bro? Oh, it's next to Australia? Is it literally? Oh, it's far away. Oh, it's real far away. Where's Japan on the map? Okay, it's a little further. It's a little further than Japan. Japan's like straight across. Oh yeah, New Zealand is like maybe almost double that. Jesus. You were tempted to go to NZ for ExonCon, but the amount of travel, I didn't want to go solo. Oh, none of your friends like Path of Exile? That's a heckin' long way to go. You'd have to make like a good week plus trip of it, right? If you wanted to go as well for the con. But that sounds like it would have been an amazing experience. Like, just to go, you know? I think the craziest travel experience I've technically done, like reason-wise, is I went to Italy for a one-piece orchestra. That was wild. We decided like 2 weeks beforehand. We just got the tickets, got the plane tickets, got accommodation, and got the tickets to the orchestra and just went for like a long weekend. That's probably the craziest travel trip I've ever done, like reason-wise. They have a lot of recommendations on the bookings page. They also don't come just for the con. Yeah, yeah, of course. You'd have to, like, that kind of... Yeah. I feel like if you were gonna travel that far, it would definitely have to be for like a extended period of time, right? Simply because the flights take so long. Like, the flights are crazy long. But I imagine it'd be amazing to go. My manager was talking about it and he says it's like, you need like at least a month to go to New Zealand to just experience the world and everything. Like, well, experience the country and the culture as well, and places there. Apparently the culture is like surprisingly different. Very, how would I describe it? He mentioned there were like a lot of like artsy, creative places that existed. The flights would murder both ways in Japan? To Japan? Oh, I can imagine. I mean, just long flights in general are just very, like, taxing. Even if you're not doing anything, they're just very taxing. Yeah, just very taxing. Extra hour and a half due to technical issues? Oh, that does not sound good. But you know, you'd rather have like a working plane, right, than a potentially dysfunctional one. 16 hours. Yeah, sounds about right. Have to delay. BS will damage your phone? Wait, what? Wait, how did they damage your phone? What? How did they get hold of your— what? Nani? How did that happen? Oh, I do apologize. I'm surprisingly kind. I haven't thought about it for a while. Phone's too strong. They had a remote and USB slots built into it, inside the arms of the plane. Someone left a broken bit of USB that rubbed against your phone. Oh, so it wasn't checked? Ooh, that doesn't sound good. So did it end up actually damaging part of your phone? I'm assuming because, I mean, can they quality control that technically? Like, what goes on? Oh, so it's a little bit of damage? Okay, so it wasn't like— they didn't break your phone though, which is good. I mean, surely you would have been given like proper compensation for that, right? No? Phone has a bit of character. Phone has been through things now. Bit of a story to tell. Got some character development going on. Experienced a bit of a trauma. Yeah, definitely. Give me 1 second, guys. I do be still here. We got about the passport system went down, so it was a 2-hour delay. Oh, in the airport. Oh god. Oh, like the scanning system for the passports. I'm assuming that's what you mean. Made the news and everything. Well, yeah, because it would cause like major delays to everyone who is arriving there, right? So there'd be like massive delays to everyone who was just trying to, you know, get back into England. Yeah, I imagine that was not received too well. I gave her a cat you got? Rosetta Gaia? Aw, she's impressed. Aw, that's so heckin' sweet. Did she like the gift? How did you sneak up past? I can't pass customs. With skill. Oh no. There we go. Gotokeji Temple? Oh, it was, yeah, that makes sense. I was gonna say, surely it was like a little statue or like a plushie, right? Gotokeji Temple. Oh! It's the Lucky Cat Temple. That's a lot of little cats. There's a lot of little clay cats. There's so many clay cats, oh my god. You're right, there is literally thousands. Wow. You can buy a cat and leave a message on them. Oh, is it like... Do you know how sometimes you have temples that have the good luck charms? That as well. Like you have your fortune read, right? Yeah, it's kind of like the same concept. Zende, hello, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Oh, even on the trains they had a lot of cat-related artwork and such. A lot of memorabilia. Yeah, there's a lot. That's really cool though, that you can just leave them, like with a little wish on them. Yeah, it's the same concept. Yeah, you can leave little messages on like wooden plaques, I suppose, and hang them up at certain temples. I'm assuming it's the same, right? It's the same kind of concept. Yeah. Had no actual cats? I'm assuming it gets a lot of like potential traffic, right? Like foot traffic. Yeah, real cats would cause absolute chaos, I think, in that kind of situation. There wouldn't be many cat statues left. More than likely. Yeah. I imagine it would be yeah, not many statues left. Yeah. Isn't one of those? No, I haven't had a chance to look at them yet. I've been pretty heckin' busy overall, honestly. Like, it's been like kind of like one task to another, to another, to another. And like thinking about doing multiple tasks during that time is like, brain can't do. Brain is like, no, 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 no. One task at a time. One task at a time. That's about what my brain can handle at the moment. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm gonna move on to the topic of the stream. So a phone case that was £200. What? What? I'm assuming it was an official Pokemon case, right? Like, surely. There was no way. Yeah, it would make sense. Could you imagine the... Oh my god, I don't even want to think about it. A gold Pikachu phone case. Oh my god, excessive. Excessive, holy hell. Okay, so the topic for this Just Chatting section is in the title, but this is surrounding the difference between stream personas and their real selves. Like, what actually specifies or directly defines a stream persona? I think a good example of this how much of your real self do you see in my persona? Oh. So, I think to begin with, we should look at like what the definition of like a persona is. So like it's more like a character, right? So like a stream persona is a character someone plays for stream. Hello. Stream. And this could be due with like a lot of exaggerated aspects, so exaggerated like body language, words, etc. I think a good example of this is probably, you know, is it Dr. Disrespect? I think he is a very good example of a stream persona that is, you know, put out to the world specifically for streaming or specifically for content creation. And it is a very, like, from what I've seen, a very, like, aggressive, exaggerated, very loud energy kind of individual, right? That's the kind of vibe I got, like... Someone can obviously correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know much about said person, but that is the first person that kind of comes into mind when we discuss like a stream persona. It's certainly something that he cannot, like if he acted the same in real life, I would be very surprised, because that kind of like energy and aggression and kind of pattern of speech would be very hard to just be continuous like in your daily life, right? You think an avatar tells a lot about a person? The choice is in said persona. Yeah, Rose in that, yeah. So if you pose the question of how much of my real self is in my persona. So for my VTuber model itself, like I love the concept of bunny girls to begin with, and I have for a very long time, so that was a given. My favorite color is pink. I do have pink hair in real life as well, so that was also a given. And the theme of roses. So, yo, my name is Rose. My persona's name is also Rose, and roses are my favorite flower, so it would make sense to have like a lot of roses thematically. And actually, if I can do this. This is the wrong thing. There you go. I have, well, my persona has a rose-based tattoo as well, but that's also to do with a backstory of being a part of the Yakuza, which is just something I personally found very fun, very kind of delinquent-esque, kind of, yeah, set apart in a way that it feels just kind of fun to play, like fun to have this idea of, right? So that's like one aspect. You can have personas that relate to your personality. Now for me personally, I don't really change how I am in stream. I'm a little more energetic, I would say, for streams at times. I do exaggerate aspects of the personality as well, but it's still all part of me. Yeah, it was like it's like a rainy Neon City Japanese-esque kind of background, which also works for the persona I have made for myself. No, I've never actually played Cyberpunk Gnome. But in saying that, so this original question came up, right? Because, and if anyone is within the FF14 streaming sphere, either content creator, etc. So this question was posed, or I wanted to pose this question because of the recent Pyromancer drama which has occurred recently. In fact, he deleted a lot of his Twitter. He said some pretty harsh things about small streamers and then came out with an apology video. And in this apology video, he separates this entity called Pyromancer and the entity called, I believe his name's Taylor. So he believes that these two people are different. So he believes like he plays like he perhaps plays this kind of character called Pyromancer, which is in of itself like quite problematic in many ways, or is considered quite problematic by other streamers, the 14 community, his actions and his words. He seems to act a lot on feelings, which, you know, is often not good. Yes, so here's the next thing. Xeno, or Xenosis Vex, is a very currently popular streamer, especially in the raiding, community. And Xeno reacted to this, and this is what I want to build upon. So Xeno believes that Pyromancer and Taylor are the same entities. Like, there is no differentiating them. Cindy, thank you very much for the follow, lovely. Thank you, thank you. And this is where things get a little tricky, right? Because people indefinitely have streaming personas, but I don't know if in this context Xeno meant that Pyromancer and Taylor are indefinitely the same people because that's who he believes Pyromancer / Taylor to be. Now, he also views himself, like Xeno and Tyler, as the exact same person. Like, he sees himself as himself. He's that way on streams, he's that way in real life. He presents a very authentic self to his streams, and you can honestly tell that by the kind, he doesn't bullshit like at all. He says what he thinks. He bans people off stream for being like straight up for being like an asshole or just saying a few bad things, and he just does it. He says what he thinks, and he's very true to himself, and he presents that kind of thing. So I think this is the difference in they have, right? See ya! Yeah, that kind of thing. Hello, Lan. We're just talking about personas. Like, this did come up because of this topic. So in those instances, Xeno and Tyler, he believes, are the same thing. Xeno just is himself, and however, Pyromancer views himself as potentially two separate entities. Now, I don't know if this is because he is trying to differentiate from the bad and the good. So maybe he sees, like, Pyromancer sees this Pyromancer character as someone who is a bit problematic in behavior. And I don't know if he was trying to justify or explain the behavior that he does because he is doing it via this Pyromancer character. And this is the thing, Xeno just couldn't really understand. It was like, you are the same people because you think like that. Now, this leads on to a whole other topic that probably will not be discussed, but it also leads into a lot of mental health. Now, this is a massive topic that is a bit difficult to discuss. But yeah, we are kind of talking about Pyro. But that is kind of on the shelf. So, you know, it depends how he's presented this. Now, I don't really know much about him, but he's not a character. He's told stories about picking fights in public spaces. Oh, really? Oh, like as Pyromancer? But in a way, like, that could also be part of a character, right? See, this is the issue with someone claiming to have a persona in the streaming sphere. Technically, you can make anything out of that persona. You could be incredibly problematic. This is another thing why VTubers are such a significant portion of the streaming community, right? Because you can create a persona and a character from, you know, this. I don't have to be myself. I am myself, but I could be anything. I could really go ham onto the, like, you know, Japanese Yakuza kind of aspect to the character and be very, like, you know, I could try to be more delinquent-esque. I could, you know, speak a bit of Japanese during streams in a very, yeah. It's that kind of thing, right? You think the most successful streamers do not play characters? Oh, it is. It's incredibly hard to keep up a character 8 hours per day, right? Incredibly difficult. The amount of, like, how taxing that would be. This is also between, like, I can only say for some things, right? Because I'm not fully well versed with a lot of, like, very large VTubers, ironically, even though I'm one myself. But Iron Mouse as well is the biggest VTuber going, and she very much seems like herself. She's become a lot more confident as her streaming's progressed. And she very seemingly just is very honest with her viewers. She's a very authentic version of herself. She speaks a lot about her medical health. She speaks about her family in quite a lot of detail. She speaks about her living circumstances, her situation, but in the same kind of situation, she also does play a persona. Like, she has this Iron Mouse figure of being Satan, and the lore videos are all to do with that, and she will make jokes about it and such. So it's very, yeah, but it's much less so. It's still prominent, but it's very much less so than her authentic self that she shows people. So I do think her success is part of that. Like, she's a very authentic person in her stream. She's very chaotic in her streams. And she's very honest. Oh yeah, you may as well get a degree in theatre if you're in character that much, right? But then we go back to my original example, which was Dr. Disrespect. Now that, to me, that has to be the majority of a character, right? Because that kind of level of energy and aggression surely cannot translate well to real life, right? But that's very much a persona that he puts on. Oh yeah, Callie definitely has more of a character persona than Iron Mouse. I think the way she speaks is great as well, how Callie speaks. Yeah. Now we have other VTubers, like... These are just some of my people that I know of, but if anyone knows like Vox Akuma, he does a lot of like acting, ASMR, lewd role plays that are very character based, but they're very like far and few between. But during that segment of those streams, like during those ASMR streams, he is fully immersed in this character he needs to be, and he does it very, very well. Yeah, that was another thing. He was actually banned. Hello, Tambourine. You think it's kind of like acting? It sort of seeps into a part of as you usually are. Yeah, I would say it could definitely... I feel like those characteristics that you would learn to be... could also seep into yourself and who you actually are, right? It's the concept of you trying to emit something, like emit a message or an energy. And yeah, I think if you tell or you are a certain way for long enough, then surely that would become like a normalized way of behaving in your daily life, even if it's, you know, problematic. Hello, Nina. What's the difference between masking and acting? Not necessarily. I don't think I'm asking like what the difference is. I'm just opening up a discussion to see what is said about it, because it's someone who, if you give yourself a message for so long, right, whether it's inward or outward, whether you express it openly or express it inwardly, if you tell yourself a message for long enough, you are going to believe it, right? And this also once again, this also like builds into mental health, but I feel like it would be a similar thing. It's almost like a routine. And if you enact a behavior long enough, then surely you start to believe it, or you start to become part of it, right? So yeah, it's just like, now the lead on like question to this, do people prefer it when a streamer is more authentic in their experiencing towards the chat? So for example, if the, you know, a person behind an avatar or a person behind a persona, let's say, is more authentic, like, what do you think? Is that, do people prefer that? Do you prefer having a streamer say, tell them, like, you know, tell them about their days, whether it's good or bad? Do you think that is a more connected experience? And like when they have like a discussion about their days, or then the question is, because the audience tell. I mean, if a streamer said, I've had like a really, you know, I've had like a really interesting day at work today and because this happened. I think that would be pretty authentic because they are telling them about themselves and telling what happens in their daily life. Whereas someone who is completely within their persona wouldn't mention that because they have to separate their persona aspect with streaming and their real life, right? So they would never discuss like specifics about their day-to-day life. They might have stories that they can express, but even so, would those be exaggerated? Like, oh, if the audience can tell if they're authentic or not? You can tell if someone's being authentic. You can really tell if someone's being authentic or not, I think. You personally don't have a preference? You just vibe with whatever whom I watch wants to do. Yeah, you're just there for it, right? So, but can you have a more... This is also brings in... Oh yeah, you can get creative with the story. Had to come up with full stories that 100% full sides while acting on improv. But see, the difference is, right, you can tell if someone... I think people can usually tell, right, if someone is being an authentic, genuine person. Or if someone is just, you know, saying something for, like, drama or interest. You know what I mean? It's I imagine it's tough, but that kind of becomes the difference. Context matters? No, not necessarily, I don't think. Well, yes, of course, but you would believe me because I'm an authentic, like I'm pretty authentic with my existence towards chat, and I always have been. I've always been very authentic with myself and how I present myself in streams. No. It doesn't matter about being a friend, but the context is I am authentic. Or yeah, I feel like I am authentic on my streams. Well, does he always pick apart? Go something like really good acting, authentic, good acting, poor acting. Oh, Sedana, so for you, you would feel like, so some really good acting. If we have a report, it's based on a history of actions. Oh, yes. Yes, I see what you mean, Yami, yes. Yeah, it's based on a history of interactions, right? So you do build, yeah, it's like building a rapport with someone. So you're more inclined to believe them or they are authentic because of the previous interactions that you had in a way. Because you've always made the atmosphere. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you can create an authentic atmosphere, the one that isn't magnified by exaggerated stories or drama-centric stories, I feel like you can express an authentic self. That's what I feel like I have expressed. But if it's like a really, really good... Oh, so it has to be like top part acting? Oh, because the ability to distinguish between the acting authenticity becomes low. Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, that would be really, really good acting. When you can't really tell if it's like an exaggeration or not. Actually, I have a very good, well, just a personal example of that. Of really good acting and like a blur of authenticity And if anyone who knows Lord Aethelstan, some of the shit he says, right? Some of the stories he expresses, like, you kind of sit there and you think, this can't be 100% true, but at the same time, you kind of want to believe it's 100% true. You can't, he gives off this kind of authentic, very chaotic vibe, and some of the stories he's expressed, you think that, is that real? You like question it, but you also want to believe it, because some of the stories he's mentioned are just nuts. But equally, some people do actually experience those things. Knocking a guy off his horse, then immediately getting off your own horse. The authentic roast is honorable. Thank you, Zedana. If you enter Joe Smo's brand new stream and he tells a story, you're like, who is that? Real life Rose isn't DGen? This is another thing, like, I think when I first started streaming, I'm actually a lot more authentic now as a person than I was at the start of streaming, like, for sure. I just got very comfortable with what I wanted to express and how I wanted to express it. So like the DGen comments and all that kind of stuff, right? Part of it is very much me, you know? And I do think some of it's pretty funny. Where's your accent dialect from? I am from England. I am British. Yeah, I'm British. British, innit? Do you want to get bullied about the bottle of water thing? No, that is not a thing. Yeah, I didn't used to swear, even though I swore like quite a lot. I very much, you know what? I was kind of like, you're not from London. When I first started streaming, I was very much kind of, I had this very like wholesome persona, so no swearing, no like DGen shit, nothing like that. And as part of that is who I am, but that was kind of it was ironically a persona that was kind of pushed onto me, right? It was like, this is what you should show people, and you should not show this like lewd, aggressive side of you. Kind of weird thinking about it. They teach you in acting is say something with confidence. Second thing is details, right? More details. Oh yeah. If you add more details, the less they question, right? How you want to guess is how you control how you come across. Oh, for sure. The rating show you the way. I did slip up. Boring Rose? I would think so. It was definitely a different, it was like one piece of me that I expressed, right? And now that's very different. But I think I personally think I'm more entertaining with all the chaos, the swearing, the lewdness, and just everything else. Like the whole part of me, right? The very authentic part of me, every little bit of me is poured into streaming. There's nothing that's really held back. Oh, really, dear? So when someone expresses to you a lot of detail, you usually believe something less. Is that because you think they're trying to kind of distract from what it is? Because if someone's adding like a lot of detail, it's almost like they're trying to overwhelm the person away from what actually is. Kevin, hello, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. That's the thing, I think of people are... Yeah, because it can, yeah, Agora put it perfectly, because it can be seen as building up the lie, right? You add more details to think, if you're going on and on and on, adding on more details, you're almost, it feels you're building up a lie, so you're trying to overwhelm with information in a way. Yeah, they're not, yeah, describing minute details that feel are just completely irrelevant to the actual original story. Yeah, I can see that. You grown up around 2 to 3 compulsive liars. Oh, so it's like born from that? Yeah, details that don't add anything and seem randomly added, yeah. Also, thank you, Yami. I like myself a lot more too. Some Twitch streamers and how they're communicating with their chat. Hello, Skull. So I'm gonna do this real quick. My Twitter is under that link. If you want to discuss it more, we can do it over there via Twitter if you want to. But I have actually answered one of these questions before, so if you are interested, then there you go. It's why context masters in a space of, I guess, theatre. You want to add detail and mean little things, how I move my hands, how I control breath, hands, etc. Yeah. There is definitely like a range of emotion, right, that you can add into it. I'm definitely trying to cut off the part that cringes, Tam. Didn't mean to interrupt. No, you're fine, you're fine. But yeah, it's a very interesting portrayal as well. Because I know a lot of VTubers have this persona they play up to, right? Like, for example, so this is a little bit of a discussion that people have. So a lot of female VTubers very much play up the lewd, degenerate side of things, right? Like, and the reason this works is because that kind of shit sells. It's either humor or sex. Now that's just like a historical practice of it being a thing, right? I remember a VTuber posting about this, like that a lot of VTubers' personalities are just essentially like lewd. That's it. That's all they kind of got. Or they very much play into like the parasocial thing, which is entirely problematic in of itself. But yeah, or a lot of VTubers in general now, it's happening a lot with new male VTubers, that they're really playing into the lewd, degenerate aspect. And as I said, I remember someone mutual, someone I follow, making a post about this. Someone commented being like, all VTuber personalities are the same. Which I don't think is necessarily wrong of a statement. And it went on to say, because everyone just plays into being a degenerate, lewd individual because it works for streaming, it works for demographic a lot of the time, unfortunately. And it's very interesting to see that, because there is definitely some truth to it. Yeah, you can say this. Yeah, K-pop group personas. They're all very similar. All these kind of like K-pop groups are very like these almost perfect beings, right? They look great, they sing great, and they dance great, and they are kind of untouchable by the world. And that's it. That's what they are. They're these almost perfect beings, and that is their personality, right? They can't show any like The only emotion they can really show is like gratitude towards fans. But it's all the kind of same. They very much have to mold these people into particular ways, unless they get big enough for them to actually have quite a lot of freedom, because at that point they're making too much money and the company just thinks like, yeah, there's no way these individuals can do much wrong in the eyes of everyone else. Yeah. Can't imagine living in that. Yeah, people do though. People live. Here's another question. So this is more of like a personal conundrum, right? How authentic are we in our real lives? That's another question. You think gameplay interactions are more inherently authentic than chat interactions? Oh, what, like how someone reacts to a game in comparison to chat? Oh, you could definitely divide that into two ideas, right? Are you streaming for a career, or are you streaming for a personal goal or personal enjoyment? Yeah, that's a good way to put it, you know. Very much not. So you feel like you're not authentic at work? Me. Yeah. I mean, people who, you know, people who do a lot of the trends create this kind of like persona for content creation, I think can do very well, but they definitely need an aspect of authenticity to them. Because authenticity allows for a connection to be created between the streamer and chat. However parasocial it is, to dare say the word, it still allows for the connection, which often brings people back. Like, entertainment value and like a connection is often what brings people back to a stream, I think. Yeah, everything, yeah. It's definitely a form of self-expression, for sure. And work, yeah, I mean, yes, work very much eats up, like, a vast majority of all of our lives, really. And is that you not being... Are we not authentic in those kind of environments because we don't feel safe to be authentic? Which in of itself is quite emotionally taxing. Like, going to a place 8 hours a day where you can't express yourself, I think would be, or like be yourself, would be incredibly taxing. What does authenticity mean to an individual? Well, see, this is the issue. In emotional psychology, authenticity is being the truest of yourself in your environment that you can be. Because if we go from an individual level, sometimes the individual level of authenticity is skewed, either by the environment they've grown up in, their emotional environment that they're currently in. So it's masking. Well, yes, but masking isn't, yes, that is, yeah, you do mask, but you're not being authentic either. It's a bit of a grey area. Yeah, but it's... Hang on. Essentially it's the premise behind counseling, is to able to be your most authentic version of yourself. Because if you're the most authentic version of yourself, you're not having to hide aspects of yourself to certain people. Now, there is obviously situations where we present parts of ourselves to particular groups of people, right? So for example, we would present potentially part of us to a working environment, which makes a lot of sense. A lot of people do that. You're not wrong in doing that. But I think it can still be taxing, right? Oh no, it's never helpful to oneself. Zendaya, I do believe in that. Yeah, and some people can't accept other people for what they are, but that's not necessarily a you problem, that is a their problem. So let me have a quick look. This is all the shit that I used to study at university, by the way. It's very interesting. And text format's so limiting. It is a little bit, it is a little bit. You studied rhetorics in uni. It was so damn interesting because of how malleable the mind is and how simple word can switch the impression of something. Oh, 100%. Like, our minds are the most powerful things that affect us, I think. Yeah, so the authentic self essentially means being your true authentic self means what you say in life aligns with your actions. So your authentic self goes beyond what you do for a living, what possessions you own, or who you are to someone. It's who you are at your core. It's about being true to yourself through your thoughts, words, and actions, and having these three areas match each other. When we aren't in touch with our authentic self, it's easy to go into people-pleasing mode, do things and say things that are based on what is expected of us or based off of social and peer pressure. So that's a very good, like, that whole thing there. Yeah, so this is the thing. How authentic are you being in your real life? So for example, if you're, I'm sure some of us can relate to this example, right? I'm just going to throw out one right now. Your parents want you to go to school and get a good degree, right? They want you to get a degree in law or nursing, but you want to go into creative studies because that is what you're passionate about. That's what you love. That's what you want to do. Now, do you be authentic to yourself and follow what you believe will make you happy? Or do you betray your own self and do what other people want you to do? Zendaya, you're very welcome. Really stupid to someone. Well, I'm not necessarily intelligent. I just think about these things a lot. It's something I studied a lot in university, like the emotional states and counseling and such. It's very interesting, and it's very much a part of my being. As someone who followed what I think would make you happy, I wish you were a lawyer. Saying that, a lot of people study at uni now. It's very good. It's very good. The educational system in the UK allows people to go to university, which is great for opportunities. Do you actually wish you were a lawyer though, Nia? And if you do wish you're a lawyer, what's stopping you from trying to become that? See, this is the thing, right? Every thought we have, or everything that we are fully in control of the thoughts and feelings. Yeah, it also may be a grass is greener situation, right? You could find yourself in a lawyer situation, like having to defend really terrible people, but it's your job now. What can you do? If that is your job to defend, it's obviously hypothetical situations, right? But if it's your job to defend bad people, would that make you happy? On the flip side, it could have been a potential of where you do cases you are really passionate about while being a lawyer. But there's always the good and the bad, right? You have to take the good and they have to take the bad of a situation. And these are the kind of things you are going to be presented with. Welcome back, Yami. You're wholly referencing financials here? Okay. You're referencing financials here, but how much of... Is that true to yourself, though? It's like, are you... So, for example, if your authentic self, right? If you're just like, okay, I want to work to earn money and it doesn't matter what I do, then your career path doesn't really matter, right? That's your authentic version of yourself. But if your authentic version is, I love this creative subject with all my heart, and I want to do that. Music degree isn't doing much, and you don't really enjoy it. You don't really enjoy music? Stoicism says you accept your actions. So you work in essentially customer service for work, so you need to be always nice no matter what. Yeah. You know, stoicism and being stoic are, despite being the exact same terms, are strangely different. Because stoicism teaches the development of self-control and fortitude as a means of overcoming destructive emotions, right? That is like the philosophy of it. But being stoic is to not show emotions. It's really strange. So the word stoic refers to a person who is indifferent to pleasure, joy, sorrow, pain. Like, it's such a weird, it's such a strange difference between, yeah, being described as stoic and being, and having like stoicism, that's hard to pronounce. Sounds like a dream. Okay, so it's different, right? In this, when someone says, refers to a person who is indifferent, it doesn't mean they're not experiencing it. Their just expression of these things are stoic. Like, their expression of these emotions are stoic. Can you imagine being indifferent to joy and pain? Like, pain is awful as it is the most driving force to change that we have. Bar like anger. Anger is an incredibly good motivator, by the way, chat. You just have to use it to motivate yourself. You're completely inauthentic IRL, but I note that inauthenticity only really makes sense in individuality cultures. In face cultures, less so. You and everyone just accept you have a face, they have a face, okay? Just behave in a way that allows people to preserve peace. Oh, preserve face. My back's in pain, I want a new job. Yes, I think, well, a lot of this, like, being authentic, like your authentic base, comes in a lot of, like, Western psychology. Now, I'm not sure where everyone is from in general, but there are definitely, like, cultural differences to that. Now, I'm speaking from someone who lives in the UK, has studied Western emotional psychology, so these are the things I personally believe in. It doesn't have to be the same thing, of course, but I think a lot of people would benefit from potentially embracing it, right? Or at least opening their eyes to said perspective. Because there's nothing wrong with opening your eyes to a perspective. Whether you embrace it or not is different, like after the fact that you've given that way a go, right? Oh, I'm sure, like, we've all been... This is kind of, like, really got off topic, but we're here now, so we're for it. So, a lot of the time, a lot of an analogy that was taught to me was, and honestly, if you're not doing this, then you should probably sort that out initially before the other example I'm going to give. If you break a bone in the body, you are in excruciating pain. And you know it needs to be checked, it needs to be looked after, it needs to have a level of care, right? Otherwise, it's just going to keep hurting, it could get worse, and a myriad of problems could happen. Ideally, you need a level of care for it to heal quicker. Because, you know, it does. Now, this is also true for, like, the emotional and psychological mind, right? If you're experiencing emotional pain, that is your emotional self trying to essentially pinpoint attention onto this. Now, okay, this is a painful experience for me. The worst thing to do is to kind of ignore it. Because ignoring it either makes it worse, builds it up to be something worse in the future, or it's still there and will be triggered at a different point in time. And that's it. That's kind of like... It's literally just surprisingly simple, but it's a lot hard. It's a lot harder to care for ourselves emotionally and psychologically. Because physically getting help is a lot easier, right? There are stages to that. There's like a checklist. You go to the doctors. You get a diagnosis on what's going on. You then immediately get the care, right? It's much harder for emotional health. Is there a checklist? Doctors. Yeah. Is there a checklist for emotional health? It's much more individual, right? You don't know exactly what to do. It's harder. Did it get like, I'm calling y'all out! I'm calling you all out. And the reason I'm doing this is because I also did this a lot as well. I have done this a lot. So I'm calling myself out. You recently talked to someone and they have PTSD. This recontextualizes everything I do and say. This also makes me able to now understand why I may feel something or act out in a way. yeah, having context for things is very important as well. Because you have to understand yourself at a very deep level to know where are these things coming from. And a lot of the time, it does actually come from a lack of self-compassion as well, which is also something I'm learning. Now, I may be projecting here. Obviously, don't take everything I say like value or like as truth. But having this conversation is important for just to have a thought process going on. Because it's important to have this thought process going on inside your brain. Because you never know, right? You never know where things have been lacking, where things have been going wrong. Like, why am I doing this behavior for so long? And there's actually, oh my god, we're going full circle, chat. We're going full circle. To go back to the Pyromancer original drama, I believe he blames a lot of his problematic behavior on ADHD and mental health. His second video, or his first video he made, I believe he blamed a lot of his problematic behavior and a lot of his lashing out and a lot of his problematic Twitter posts and rants and all this kind of thing within the community on mental health behavior. Now, there are two flip sides to this, right? Yes, mental health is very much a factor in our behavior because cognitively, our thoughts and our behavior completely coincide with one another. We think a thought, we act. We act a particular way, we think a thought. And those can very much get out of control if we're on a very reactive level to those things. So like the stimuli, for example. For example, someone gives you genuine criticism about how you act. How do you respond to that? Do you let the criticism completely engulf you emotionally? And you start to think what a kind of oh, what a terrible person I am, or I am this way now and that's all I'm gonna be, etc. Or do you lash out at them instead? Do you reject this idea? Do you think, no, I'm not like that at all because you're denying it? Or do you think about it calmly, rationally? Do you think, okay, why have they said this? I acted in this way. Okay. That may be where they've come from. So, do I need to change this now? Is this something that should be changed for the betterment of myself? It's so fascinating. All those three kind of thought processes can happen. It's just, what are we actually choosing to engage in there? Which thought process are we choosing to engage in? And it's very easy to be engulfed by emotions or criticism. It's very easy to want to deny it and lash out because it's a lot harder to look at ourselves from a rational and critical perspective and how we need to change than it is to change. Because change is really fucking hard. It's a lot of work. So much work. You take issue with that? Then at least the wording. In what way? I may not have worded it too well. This is all still a learning process for me as well. If I can reword it to make it more understandable, then I will try my best. Yeah, I think considering the criticism is always worth it. Hello, Paris, by the way. Maybe like a lot of trauma you've built up is just there and it's still like a volcano, just hasn't erupted yet. But there is also an aspect of it that it will erupt, right? The potential for it to erupt is there. Now what happens if it does erupt is also the question. There's a lot of self-reflecting that goes into this. Also the context of like, if someone gives you self-criticism, where is this criticism coming from? So yeah, if someone criticizes you, are they criticizing you because they are genuinely concerned about their your behavior? Or are they criticizing you because they don't like you, or are they overly emotional in that? So a lot of context happens. You can have space for emotion. No, I'm not. No, this is from an absolute personal perspective. This is from a self perspective. Obviously, you cannot go to someone and say, why aren't you thinking rationally about this? You would never say that to someone. This is all about yourself and how you react to things. Of course, you're never gonna say, like, yeah, you're not gonna say, why are you, you're not gonna go from a completely devoid emotional space to say that to someone. This is about how you yourself react to these emotional situations. Now, of course, you should always allow for these emotions, like allowing yourself emotions and to really deeply feel emotions is a way for you to overcome them. Because then in doing so, you work through them. Pushing them down, pushing them away, essentially does just build them up, because there's nowhere for those emotions to go. So yes, if you've experienced a loss, you're gonna feel a lot of emotions. But if you are, there's different context for these kind of things, okay? There's different context. The specific one I gave about someone criticizing you, that in and of itself would work, right? In terms of grief, there are the stereotypical stages of grief that people go through that can help people understand where their emotions are coming from, what's going on with them. Some people need space, some people don't. Yeah, exactly. You let yourself feel, you think why you felt that. It's where did you, like, cognitive behavioral therapy, essentially, it has three, like, major components. It's the thoughts, the feelings, and the behavior. And all those three relate. So, what's the thought? What's the feeling? What's the behavior that happened? And all those three together, instead of like letting the emotion engulf you, you can say, for example, I was really upset today and I wanted to scream at someone and I thought about doing this, or I thought about a conversation in my head. I'm just giving a generic example. I didn't actually feel that today. But if you go straight to like, I am angry and I'm going to scream at someone immediately, then that is problematic behavior, right? Because that person does not deserve to be screamed at, and you also don't deserve any consequences on top of that for that kind of emotional reaction. But you need to, let yourself feel it, think about it, and then act accordingly. Because there are different ways we can react to these things. It's a lot about how we react and how we behave. A lot of thoughts and feelings are very internal. I mean, some people do also deal with it by removing themselves from the situation, like, okay, I need to take 2 minutes. That's also most likely, if that's what they feel like they need to do in that moment, then that's fine, because they are not problematically behaving in any way, right? They are removing themselves from a situation that they are in for them to think about it, to just process it, instead of, you know, reacting perhaps very volatile from these things. Yeah, if your reaction is to yell at someone, then if you feel like you need to remove yourself from the situation to stop that from happening, then you already have like a good self-awareness, right, of your own behavior and thoughts and the feelings associated with it. And you could always just take a minute and come back, right? It's your responsibility to moderate the emotional responses with the rational part. Being able to do this should be a basic adult capability. I would say yeah, it's that kind of, this is where we go back. We go, now here it's where context is extremely important. And I apologize for kind of discrediting context prior to this when we were speaking about personas, etc. But I feel in this context, yeah, in this context, the context is very important. Like, if you react very volatile and distressed to someone giving you genuine criticism, then that is something to be worked on. There is some form of like emotional imbalance there. Obviously with all the things like very deep emotional distress that occurs, for either like a loss, and a loss over anything really, you know, a death, anything like that, like depression, etc. It's a very wide gap. Yes, also people need to know how to communicate these things. People are generally not too great at communicating. It's very rare that you can find someone who is like, who can communicate things very well. It's kind of hard to find that. I think communication is something everyone should work on as well. Because how you can communicate something creates a whole different thing. So like communicating that, you know, a friend's behavior upset you, you can say, hey look, that thing you said about me was actually quite upsetting. So for example, if it wasn't criticism, it was just a genuine, like, you know, quite unpleasant comment, you can say that, you know, that comment you made was actually quite upsetting to me, and I'd appreciate it if it wasn't brought up again. I just wanted to make you aware that that was something that did actually hurt me, so I would appreciate it if you don't do that. And if said person's response is to carry on doing it, and to be entirely not understanding of the impact that that would have on you emotionally, and how that affects you, then you should probably kick them to the curb, for lack of a better term, right? Because they are not... They lack something fundamental. And they are probably, on a broader sense, not the best people to have in your life if that is their reaction to something that is genuinely hurtful. Because we are all hurt by things in life, right? That's a norm. Yeah, good communication is definitely a prerequisite. People who are terminally online don't tend to excel at that. To be fair, I haven't met... It's a bit of a strange one. Because there are people who are terminally online that are very good at communicating. Even if it's all through like online spaces, right? And I know people who are like in real life who are not terminally online and communicate very well, and who are also not terminally online and are extremely poor at communication. So it's kind of just like, it's very potentially a personal thing, but I do think being terminally online is not helpful for people's health for a myriad of reasons, not just like communication ones. So yes, you can... The big thing... The big thing about, like, a lot of people, I think, interpret the control of emotions as a lack of expression of them, I think. Which isn't the case. Like, you can control your emotions and express them simultaneously. It's just how you're expressing them. Yeah. But it is a very... There are like fundamentals to emotional psychology and things you can do to improve. You shouldn't change for anyone, in my opinion. Now, how do I describe this? People tell you you shouldn't change for people, right? Now, I don't necessarily think that is true. And this is from a personal perspective, which I don't think I'm going to go into, but not in any detail, but I had multiple incidences this year where I didn't change, and I kind of let myself be in these habits, these emotional habits that were not good for me. And in doing so, I lost connections with people. I lost important things because I kept myself in these kind of destructive emotional patterns. Now, and because of that, I am changing for myself and other people, because I think overall I'd be happier in doing that. Now, I'm not... Clarification, you shouldn't change yourself. Yes, you should change because it's best for you, right? If something is... If a sets of behavioral patterns that you are exhibiting is destroying part of your life, then it is up to you to change those patterns. Because you're the only one that could do it at the end of the day. You can't expect people to stay with you during those really destructive patterns, because that's not fair to expect other people to do so, right? And if you don't have the capacity to stay with someone during those extremely destructive patterns, which a lot of us aren't in reality, and if you do, it's very harmful for yourself, then something has to change. You will change. I think if something traumatic happens enough, you either go two ways, right? You either move to a path of change in a positive way, or you move to a path of change in a negative way. And obviously we'd all rather, we'd hopefully all rather move to the path of positive change. Yeah, that's exactly. You find a path that helps you heal and be better for you and the people you care about. And I think that's the most important point, because you want to change for yourself and you want to change for the people around you. It's all for yourself at its core. Like, it's all for yourself at its core, even if other people are involved. That's mostly what's going on. I can't... Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of people have to go through really quite destructive experiences to get to that point. I think a lot of the time. Yeah, it's that kind of thing, right? As you change, you find people you don't find what you like disagreeable. I don't really have any necessary like comments on that personally. Like, it's kind of like you do you situation, right? We're not necessarily talking about like the community there or in general. But that's another, you have to be willing to change something if you want to change something, right? If you don't want to change something, that's entirely up to you, and that's fine. That's fine. But it's as you said, Bios, like, you will find people who will agree or disagree with that, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Has been involuntary change you've experienced? But Nia, you acknowledge that you've acknowledged there that you have changed, but you've also acknowledged that there is involuntary change, which means there is, on the flip side, voluntary change, right? You can create this person that is happier. Because anyone can. We are capable of doing it. We are like, our minds are so incredibly powerful in so many ways. It's just purely how we use it. And it sounds fucking dumb, but like, you don't need the courage. You don't need the courage. You don't need the workout, and that's okay, Ned. This isn't necessarily a place to like pour all our trauma out all at once, but I feel like I can't be more time to be honest with me. Oh my god, Nino. I have something with that actually. And I mean, I do say all this, right? Because it's something I genuinely believe in now, that we can we can become happier versions of ourselves. Because 6 months ago, for me, I don't think I would be capable of anything I was now. Like, I didn't think I was capable of change. I didn't think I was capable of a lot of like personal things that I needed, and now I'm moving towards that change that I have to do, that I want to do. So yeah. But it also means like anyone is capable. Yeah. We give authentic parts of ourselves to different pieces. But I also want to believe, wait, why are you mad at me? Nino, I'll message you stuff later about the empty cup thing, because I had like an emotional revelation recently. I mean, that's another. Oh, I need to send some videos in. But another issue is that we do have this incredible ability to that's the thing, right? You have to go through change. You have to go through happier change in some way. And a lot of things I had for a long time are very destructive. And I never want to be in a position of it destroying aspects of my life again. Therefore, we change. We have to change for ourselves because we don't want that to go down again. So that's what I mean. If there has been involuntary change in your life, you can voluntarily change things. You can become... I'm a deep believer that life will irrevocably change us. Because it is a constant, right? It's ironic, but the only constant we have in existence is change. However, good stuff. The good thing about that is that we are capable of harnessing that change for better reasons, right? And often the time we do use, keeping busy, like, working 5 days a week, going out with friends all the time, being social, like working on our off days, doing everything in our possible power to mask the illusion that we are changing because we're busy. Now that's not necessarily the case, right? It takes a lot of work to change. Like every single day doing the work to change your mindset, just changing your mindset, how you perceive things, how you see things, how you think of things. It's hard. It's hard, but it's doable. And I know for me, I'm just kind of ranting now, I do apologize. For me, it is doable because I am doing it. I'm doing it right now. It's interesting. Yeah, go to therapy, go to groups, connect with people. Like I stopped connecting with people as well. I kind of like shut myself off to select people and like stream, right? But stream I didn't express a lot of personal things on stream because that's not what we're here for. This is okay though because we're tea time and chatting, so we can speak about whatever the fuck we want now. But I think opening yourself up to more perspectives is also very helpful for you to gain perspectives on yourself and life as well. So talking to people is great. Groups are great. Therapy is fan-frickin-tastic. I know it's not a viable option for a lot of people, but therapy is fantastic. But that's just, I mean, I studied it, so I do think that. But I've experienced like a lot of forms of therapy as well. Experiencing therapy now has been very good. But it's just, yeah. But everyone is capable of it. I'd never want someone to sit there and think, oh, I'm really happy that this person is changing, and then not feel like they are capable of it themselves. Because everyone is capable of doing so. But I do think it's certainly harder for others. Like, for it can be a lot harder for other people to enact that change because potentially their environment or financial reasons, but it is possible. It is still possible even with those things. Yes, you also have to want to enact change. Like you can't change other people no matter how much you try. Because that's just life. They have to want to change. This is also a big aspect if you tell someone to go to therapy, right? You're just like, you need to go to therapy. A lot of the time people kick back from that because they think, I don't need to go to therapy. Why would I go to therapy? I don't need you to tell me to go to therapy. It's a very like, whoa. Like, have you considered trying therapy? It's just that kind of thing, really. Everyone can just accept everyone's face at face value. We come back to how you communicate things as well. Have you considered going to therapy? You need you need help. Just like, oh boy, don't, no. No, don't do that to yourself. Can't help you. So the concept of like, I might have a bit of a hot take on this. No one is obligated to help you. It is their choice. Now everything can be everything is down to choice. Like everything in our existence is down to choice. We choose to do something, we choose to go to therapy, we choose to leave a situation that's harmful, we choose to get another job because it's a bad environment. There are so many choices we make, and all of them are choices, but all of them will have consequences, whether they are good or bad. But no one is, like I said, some people cannot, like they cannot help you because they are not in an emotionally viable place. They are not qualified to. They are, you know, they have so much going on in their own lives, they can't afford that kind of emotional energy, you know? There's so much to it. There is so much to it. You can only ever help yourself, really. Just, yeah. The community doesn't really use a face model. Context! Context is the keyword. That's the thing, especially if they're going through something similar. And I mean, at the time, if you're going through something very like deeply emotional and someone turns around and is like, can't help you, that in itself is traumatic because we're already in a harsh emotional place. But taking a step back from that and realizing if they are going through stuff, like how it feels like a rejection of you entirely. But that's because we're in that, like, we're in that hole. We're in that dark place. Like, we're already in an emotionally volatile place because we are, you know, having an emotionally unstable episode and we're begging for help because we don't know what to do in the time. We don't know how to do it. How do we deal with this? We don't have, in those moments, we don't have the resources necessary. During that point to deal with that. And born from that is this need to rely on someone else to fix things for you, to help you, when in reality you have the capability of helping yourself, but you need to get that. You need to get those resources. That's the thing as well. Yeah, don't worry, Pyros to data. I'm sorry, we're on a different tangent. Don't you worry. We're on a completely different tangent. You carry on. Yes, and here's the issue with this is why in like counseling it's fundamental to never give advice to someone, right? to never tell someone what to do. It's only extremely rare, like extremely rare cases when this occurs. So if you is in a counseling situation, if a therapist gave someone advice to do something and they acted upon it and things went terribly wrong, all that is left is they are able to push the accountability onto someone else, and it could potentially be a far worse situation they were originally in. That's why advice is just never given in a counseling situation. The difference is there are suggestions, right? Like, okay, for example, like, what would it look like if you didn't do this thing? Like, what would happen? You have to give the person this hypothetical situation for them to actually, like, think through. Like, for example, what happens if you didn't have this person in your life? It's like, well, I would be sad. Just like, will you be sad forever? No. It's that kind of thing. Why is there moon flute? But it's that kind of rationality, like, what happens if you would keep said person in your life? It's like, would I be happy? It's that kind of concept. Yes, no. You can think through a lot of things, right? Acting upon it is kind of difficult though, but you can always think about a lot of the hypotheticals from a rational point of view. Yeah. It's very interesting. Like, a guiding hand, what's the key? Yeah. It's having Moonfleet gives like a deep
No.
24 years or something. IDK I don't make the rules Kappa HD.
Thank you so much for subbing. Oh my god, Prof, thank you so much. I hope you're doing well, by the way. Yeah, 24 years! Thank you very much for the resub. I hope you're doing well. I hope IRL stuff hasn't got you completely tied up, friend. But thank you ever so much. Yeah. We're just having deep conversations. How long have I been streaming for? Oh my god, we've been having deep conversations for 2 hours. Anyway, I'm gonna go back to the original point. All of this can kind of be rooted back to the original, like, literally what started this conversation, which was the issue with Pyromancer. And some of Xeno's takes as well, but I won't really talk about Xeno's takes. It's a bit of a strange perspective. But Pyromancer blaming all of these like problematic behaviors on like ADHD, depression, and anxiety also needs to understand that like he is also accountable for acting on those things while in that state. Or for example, if you know, and I don't know if this is a hot take. I can't believe I'm discussing this on stream actually, because this was a topic I was going to discuss privately, but here we go. Is if something has damaged your life for a particular amount of time and you know it's doing it, then you have the opportunity to change. But if you know, if it's been like a year, 2 years, 3 years, and you're still doing it and you still realize you need to change but aren't actually doing those things to change. So for example, if you're not getting professional help, you're not stepping away from a harmful environment that is causing, you know, problems, then you're in effectively like a cycle. And there is opportunity for help out there. There are medications, there are therapies, and even interpersonal relationships can be really quite helpful. Just like talking to people about your experience. Not as necessarily from a therapist point of view, like, I need your help, but just being like, kind of this is what I've experienced, and having someone just be open to listening to that can also be very therapeutic in its own way. Not to such a professional level as a therapist, but it definitely offers you the opportunity to begin to change, I think. Your mental illness isn't everyone else's problem, and it shouldn't be. It's your own problem. Yeah. Having issues isn't a get out of jail. Oh no, it's certainly not. Yeah, there's a different, yeah, if it's something like you physically cannot help it, but yeah, like, yeah, Tourette's is very much a specific thing where you cannot help that whatsoever. But mental health, I think, is technically, it's a bit of a strange one in my view, because mental health is technically the most accessible thing you can change, like concept you can change, but it's the hardest to do, in my opinion, because there are so many ways you can try and help it, but it's also the hardest to move towards that help and that change. Yeah, you know, yeah, I do relate to that, actually. Recent experiences. Yes, Pyro's climbed aboard the Drama Llama train once again. Yeah, it's a kind of a wild time, honestly. The issue ain't, like, the Pyromancers said a lot of things that are problematic. Yeah, Kate, that's exactly it, right? It was yeah, like, people have, like, genuine lifelong, I don't necessarily like to call it a problem necessarily if it's something you are actively born with, right? It's never an excuse, but it's something you do, it's a struggle. It's a lifelong struggle that you experience a lot, and 100% you're not gonna be, like, perfect every day. There are times you're gonna slip up. There are times that you're not gonna be able to, like, fully hold yourself together, and that's fine, because everyone has days like that, right? No one can be perfect. We're all gonna have bad days. We're all gonna have sad moments. We're all gonna get angry. We're all gonna get upset. But it's, in that case, for example, Pyromancer's case, where he's like, these are all my lifelong mental health struggles, and in the next instance be like, your viewer count what your viewer count, if you, like, have 3 viewers, your opinion does not matter. Yeah, it's on them. Why is it vindictively pre-trial this should act have the most skeletons in their own closets? Are you interpreting this as a way of... Oh, yeah. Yes, his other bad take was... lo-fi beats? Fucking what? Was, yeah. If you're not subbed to a streamer, you should leave. Like, oh yikes. Oh yikes. Are you insinuating skeletons in the closet is not something that people have dealt with? Okay, people leave. No! My viewership, no! How could you do this to me? Yeah. Also, I mean, a lot of people don't like... I'm using, like, the Pyromancer It's just an example. I'm not saying like what he should or shouldn't necessarily do, but from personal experience, I think, you know, it's because an apology video has gone out. I think that's what people have a problem with Pyros. He said all this stuff. He's made an apology video and then done a lot of this accountabilities on my lifelong struggles. Oh, I should have put his name. I'll put it in the YouTube video. Hello May, hello Neri, hello Hannah. Has enough common sense to call him out. I haven't actually seen the common sense. In fact, let me go to Pyromancer's. Pyromancer? Oh, Pyromancer drama is literally the top fucking thing. Oh my god, this is amazing. Oh my god, wait. Wait, he's lost like 20k in subs? No way. Has he actually lost 20k in subs in like 5 days? In a week? No way. No way. Phew. I kind of feel... Part of me kind of feels bad for the guy. If he said that, what if that's like a dumb yet authentic take? A dumb yet authentic take? Oh, what he said? Random abusive message. I think there are two ways you can look at that though, Pyros. There's like... I mean... For me, personally, I watched Xeno's reaction to this, right? And Xeno is convinced that he's like Pyromancer's like lying through his teeth about a lot of these things and it doesn't actually care. And a lot of his takes are fact. Etc. Your supporters and your co-workers needed both. But maybe he came to really resent his audience. You don't remember? Did you not? I watched it this morning. He said he's like, there's no way he's like... I watched it this morning and Zeems is like, I don't fucking believe a word this guy is saying. He definitely meant everything he said in those posts, etc, etc. That's what he said. I think I don't know if he might have used lying once. Or definitely something akin to lying. I believe. Yeah, he doesn't believe the apology at all. He's been leaking subs since finishing the MSQ. I mean, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's another issue. I mean, my third or fourth apology vid since he switched to 14. I mean, that's the thing, right? There's his track record of behavior. Yeah, it is. It is how FF Stranger Art goes. Like, let's be honest. If you're playing FF MSQ, you're gonna find some success. The second FF14 MSQ drops, people aren't interested anymore. And that's just fact. And it's hard to come down from that, right? Especially what he was getting. He was getting like 1k views, something nuts. Going down to 100. I think that'd kind of fuck up anyone from a streaming perspective, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, the meta is to do MSQ on loop. Oh, we got the 5k high. Damn, that's crazy. To collect your thoughts on that, if you're behaving in a way that damages yourself and others, and you know it's because of issues you're aware of, maybe time to do something about it. 100%, Nina. 100%. A lot of the time, if you don't, people will do it for you. They'll remove you from it. Yep, yeah. You lost 20k subs. This can come back to that example of a traumatic experience that forces change. Yeah. This is irrelevant to the idea of the persona at this point. That is true. We have mildly got off topic. You don't get the vibe he knows he's the problem. I need to watch the whole thing. I watched the majority of the first video. I need to watch the rest of it. It's just a conversation that came up because of the persona aspect of things, which is like we've gone in like loops and circles here, and we've figured it out of this, that it's been good. I hope people have found the conversations we've had just food for thought, productive in a way. I always find these conversations very productive. I've been trying to not engage in like the very emotional, lengthy discussion that we had. I've not been like seeking those out in life, but I've been trying to connect with more people on that kind of level, if that makes sense. Like a deep, like having like not necessarily a deep emotional conversation, but a emotional conversation. Wasn't planning on working, but now you're inspired. See? That is a positive force. You're using the conversation we've had as a positive force. A real moment. We've had a lot of real moments this stream. Like a lot of real moments. We talked a lot about change, actually. And a big part of me, right? After experiencing a situation where I know I desperately need to change to move forward and to be better for myself and other people. In doing that, I'm trying to kind of reach that kind of thought process as well. Because I've spoken to other people who felt very similar to me, and I can see it. I can see parts of how I was in other people, and I'm like, fuck. That is such a sad, upsetting place to be in. So now I'm like, if you'll listen, I'm not necessarily going to be able to help what you're going through, but we can have a talk about it. And I'm going to tell you some things that worked for me, might not necessarily work for you. We're all very individual, but maybe somewhere along the line this can be helpful to you. And that's kind of what I've been trying to do. Your personas are relevant to what is being done at the moment. If your actions, words are causing issues for you and the others you care about, that's an issue. Your persona being an extension of yourself. Yeah. I'm surely like the majority of people's personas, especially like streaming personas, right? Put us on blast. No! Don't put me on blast, bro! Put myself on blast enough this stream. Yeah. God, I was supposed to play Resi, but now I'm exhausted. But I do enjoy it's kind of like a complicated feeling. It feels very productive and fulfilling to have these kind of conversations. Yeah. Kaguya-hime. Oh, fucking goddamn. Took me a hot minute to see what you meant then, Kate. there are very few people entertaining enough that their normal personality would be entertaining enough on a regular stream. Yes, I agree, Pyros. Yes. There's definitely, you have to exaggerate things for stream, I think. But I also think, oh, here's a weird thing. Do you know how we were speaking about, I'm sorry, I'm gonna, if you don't mind guys, I'm gonna direct this on myself for a little bit. Well, for a very small portion of time, we spoke about earlier about how like, particular like really energetic behavior and the way we act and speak. If we do that on stream a lot, like have this very energetic energy, very loud, very talkative, that kind of thing, that kind of personality, right? Does that begin to bleed into your real life? That's the next question. That's what I kind of said earlier about like some people who have a very large persona that they put out to the world. I am really talkative now. I am a really chatty person now because of stream. Like to people I enjoy talking to. Or, like in a casual like conversation. Like if I'm talking to someone via voice, I am very chatty. And I think that's because I'm a streamer. So yeah, I think there's some things you can, yeah, there's definitely some like assimilated streamer behavior that's come into that there. We could talk about the negative cycles you go into when we see the walking red flag, Ada. Yeah, I actually, some people are very naturally gifted at being entertaining, right? I don't think I'm one of them. I think you can learn aspects of entertainment, or you can do something kind of separate from the norm. And it's always one of those two things. There's like, you are either very entertaining, you do something completely separate from the norm, like very unique. I think you can learn to be entertaining. Oh, Sedata, really? You think I'm natural? Oh, that's really? I'm trying to learn how to be more entertaining, or do things both. Learn how to be entertaining and try to do something different from the norm. There you go. Those two together. Rosie, I swear to God. Okay. There we go. Trying to do both. Yeah. I'm trying to learn how to be better. There we go. Full circle. Here we go. As long as it's an affecting you negatively, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's a given. Because I think I'm like, I mean, people who've been in voice chat with me know that I'm very similar on stream and off stream. Maybe a little less energy off stream, because a lot of energy is put into streaming, naturally. You could be fucking weird. Hell yeah! I am weird. I am weird. Remember the day I was making weird noises going about doing something? My friend said, see, you can tell he's himself with us because he's just as weird when he's on his own. I love that. Just killed P9S and 22 balls on PF. Holy shit, Lynn. Wait, like today? That's crazy. Holy fuck. Nice going. That's really good. That's really good time. Oh, nah, I'm warm now, chat. I'm gonna take off my clothes. Ayo. The Sly Cooper conversation. Hang on, I'm gonna have to go to a BRB to do this because my model's gonna freak out. I said what I said. Some ASMR of removing of clothes. Oh, I just realized what I have underneath my jumper. That sounded really weird out of... In context, it sounds strange. Oh well. I hope you heard that. That's how you enter stream? I'm removing my clothes, champ. Where is my little boat? Oh, there's my little boat. Oh. Am I cute right now? God, no. Wait. No, I am cute. I'm cute 100% of the time. We're manifesting fucking self-confidence and positivity. I am cute. Hell yeah. Hey yo! 69 bits. Oh, I'm so, do you know, this is the time where like I wish my mic was more sensitive. Jumpers are cute. Oh no, it's like a pullover. It's not a jumper, sorry. It's like a massive baggy pullover because comfort. I'm like wearing like a little shirt underneath. What the fuck? Whatever. But like we spoke about emotions, and now I'm warm. Bathroom man. Wait, that's cute. It can be. I'm kind of like, I'm still in like half my work stuff. Wait, I'm not back yet. It's cold in my room though. Like, well, it's not cold, but it's not like warm. We've had a lot of emotional conversations. Good emotional conversations though. Like, I just want to thank everyone for engaging in all of those emotional conversations and sharing your aspect, allowing me to share mine. I think it's been good. I've enjoyed it. Chat could also take off their trousers and I would never know? Yeah, you're right. Oh, fuck. You need to also leave. Bye-bye, Nino. Take care. It's good because we're changing to Resident Evil soon and now I get to Rage. Things I think are entertaining, like to make the strength build against a game that didn't want you to make a strength build and using a suboptimal weapon because you like its style. I don't know, things like tubers can be kind of secondary.